Well, here we are, everybody. It's a Wednesday edition of the Slate. I'm Emerson Lotzia, Sweet Tea Fowler, Geoff Ulrich, the Canadian Prince of Poutine. We have about, 45 minutes to go here. We'll look ahead to some Thursday night football between the Panthers and the Texans, gentlemen. We're going to look ahead to the main Week 3 Sunday slate. We'll talk some DFS. We'll talk some sports betting. But also, let's talk about America. Let's talk about dudes who can roll a good meatball, Fowler. We're going to talk about the Ryder Cup, Geoff.
Yes.
I'm excited for it.
Happening this week?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Oh, interesting.
Secret little event.
Everybody knows. Everyone's been watching the sweat every morning and watching us ask you award-winning questions that we didn't write. So anyway, real quick, that's on the menu. Let's look back on Monday Night Football here, dude. So hell of a night for Team Aaron. You had Aaron Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns. 3 of them were received by Aaron Jones, who has dedicated this season and that performance to his late father. He had 4 total touchdowns. First player to record 4 scores on Monday Night Football since Marshall Faulk in the year 2000. Question for you. Will the real Green Bay please stand up, Fowler? Like, which version of Green Bay are we going to see moving forward? Because week 1, where they managed just 3 points, that was vomit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be the latter, closer to the latter. I don't think you're going to see 4 touchdowns out of Aaron Jones every single day, but you're going to see it more often than any other type of running back not named like Christian McCaffrey. This is why there was a hashtag free Aaron Jones handle going on, when Jamal Williams was still there, when Mike McCarthy was still there. It's because this guy is an extreme playing 2 deep safeties, which is what the Saints did, which is what the Detroit Lions did. And you heard it all throughout that coverage, especially if you're watching the Peyton Eli coverage, is that if these defenses are going to play that type of defense, then Rodgers is just going to dump it off to Aaron Jones, and he's good enough. He's better than good. He's better than good for the defenses now to start cheating up, and that's when you get the Devontae Adams 50-yard over the top against lesser DBs. So yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones, I think this does put him obviously in the top tier of running backs for fantasy. I think it's the Green Bay Packers on the offensive side. You saw that pass to Robert Tonyan he wasn't even open. Tonyan wasn't even open.
He really wasn't.
And he caught that. And he got it to Tonyan. Yeah. The defense, a little scared, right? Is it Darius Smith? I don't believe was in. Preston Smith was. Jair Alexander is solid, but still, you see some question marks. Detroit came out tough, came out strong, came out punching in that first half, and you thought, oh no. The only thing you were cheering for was that guy who had that 16-team parlay that if the Lions won straight up, he would have won like $750,000. That's the only reason why you're cheering for that. But you're like, oh no, not this, not now. But I think you're going to see more of the relaxed Aaron Rodgers. More of where he's getting a little testy at the press.
Yeah, he was, dude. And then yesterday on the Pat McAfee show too, he went off. He's really sick and tired and pissed off of people questioning like what he did over the summer.
H-bombs, B-bombs, it was great.
Yeah, lots and lots of bombs that aren't even safe here for the slate. And we'll say almost anything and everything. Ulrich, they're 3-point dogs in San Francisco on Sunday. Are we gonna see the Aaron Rodgers from Monday Night Football show up against San Francisco, undefeated San Francisco and Jimmy G?
Look, Green Bay is. I think Aaron Rodgers is in for another big season. I think Reid is right. Aaron Jones is in for a big season. 6 targets first game. He's converted every single target he's had into a catch now. Green Bay looks like they figured this out. Love the way they're using him around the end zone everywhere. The problem with the Packers is the defense stinks, and it's not going to get turned around. They're down Ladarius Smith. Kevin King is still out there just being Kevin King. Jair Alexander's great. He's one player, though. He doesn't make a defense. They're going to be involved in some high-scoring games. It's great for fantasy purposes. But no, you look ahead to week 3 here. This line was +4, and I said, we were on the show with this show on Monday with Glash and Matt Mieselman, buy in to the Packers +4 before the game starts, because once Aaron Rodgers goes off, this line is dropping. It's already dropped. I don't care that it's dropped. I think you should just play the Packers money line, because Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Garoppolo, with the 49ers banged up, no Jason Verrett, all their running backs injured. Dude, this is not good. Like, this not a good situation for San Francisco already. They're already banged up. Green Bay's coming in. They got a chance to just turn this thing around 2-1. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I think San Francisco put up points, but no, give me Green Bay here.
Fowler, from the last game of week 2 to the first game of week 3, right there, top of your screen. First off, thank you for being talented enough to share your screen. The Panthers are 8-point favorites here, man, on the road in Houston. Houston's turning to rookie Davis Mills at quarterback after Tyrod Taylor landed on the IR. I think it was with a hamstring injury. Both teams actually 2-0 against the spread this season. How much do you like the Texans' chances of covering tomorrow night?
Well, Carolina historically has not been great on Thursday night. But it's been with a different set, right? A different set of quarterbacks, different set of running backs for the longevity of it, for the long term of that trend. Still, when you take a look at this Houston team, if they can't get Brandon Cooks the ball, which is their only chance, that's going to be tough. Look, Ingram and Phillip Lindsay have showed decent against the Jaguars, have shown that they can do something in the backfield. But the Carolina Panthers defense, while they're not great, while they're starting rookie, DBs, you're going up against a rookie quarterback. So it's kind of a wash for me in that sense. And so when you put talent against talent, and you have someone like Shaq Thompson on the defensive side, you got Brian Burns on the edge, you got some decent players on that team. And Sam Darnold looks like, again, getting out of the way of Adam Gase, or getting out of the umbrella, the Gase umbrella, that is every single player that leaves Adam Gase, is a better player because of it. Sam Darnold looks like a serviceable quarterback, a better than average quarterback. Oh, and let's not forget Christian McCaffrey's in that backfield. So yeah, I think 8's a little high because we've seen Houston cover, but I wouldn't be touching this from an ATS standpoint. Even over under. I just I don't know how Houston is going to score points here.
Yeah, Geoff, I think the total here is the third lowest this week. It's around 43. And I know you're Mr. Over. Like you were hammering the over button, and it felt like every game last week. Are you doing the same in this one? Are you brave enough?
And let me just add, it actually turned out pretty well last week. But this is the spot. I actually think the best bet in this game is the under at 43. I do not want to take Sam Darnold as a -8 road favorite. So no, I can't bet the Panthers. But, on the flip side, Davis Mills, who I thought might actually be a sneaky pick in this draft. He was a good college quarterback. He looked really good at Stanford. He was objectively awful in preseason. So now he gets thrown in here on the road, on a short week, against the Carolina Panthers team, whose defense, like they have a lot of young talent. They've looked good. Carolina plays at a slower pace than people realize. The under is 11-7 under Matt Rule hitting with the Carolina Panthers over the last year and a bit. I think the under here is a really good play. I think Carolina, they got that run game. Houston's going to try and run the ball with Mark Ingram and slow this game down for Davis Mills. I want to make a case for Davis Mills turning this around and just showing people he's got a little bit more talent and covering the +8. But I think the bet here is just to play the under because I don't know what's going to go on with this spread. There's so many variables involved here.
For sure. And it's not like the Panthers offense has been all that explosive through a couple weeks. And through the 2 minutes of research that I did, I guess their offensive line is a little beaten up as well.
Yep. Beaten up. Darnold's playing well, but he's not throwing the ball a ton downfield or anything. I think he had one big play to DJ Moore. Week 1, he didn't do much. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think that I think even if Houston gets ahead here on the road, it's just going to be a lot of Christian McCaffrey around the ball a little bit. Yep. Houston's going to still play conservative on defense, and I think that under is a good play.
Reid, what's your showdown strategy for this one in DFS?
Yeah, I mean, Christian McCaffrey is by far and away the most expensive at the captain spot. I think that's a lot of money to pay up for him at 20K. It's almost half your salary. But look, one thing I do know, one thing that you notice about Sam Darnold is that a lot of his production is coming from the receivers after the catch. So, which it applies to him, just the same. It's not because he has to throw a ton of air yards and then he gets more points, right? If the yak is coming from Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and these players, then that's fine. And that's why I'd like going to some of those guys a little bit more in this matchup. Like I said, Houston, they have some decent players on defense from an individual standpoint. Zach Cunningham, which he didn't play the first quarter of last week's game for disciplinary issues. I don't know, maybe when you're 1-1, when everyone thinks you're supposed to go 0-2, then for whatever reason, he wasn't in the game in the first quarter, but he's their best offensive player. If he's on the field, then that worries me a little bit from a ceiling standpoint of some of these these cross the middle guys. And I'm not saying Christian McCaffrey can't absolutely smash in this, but he's got to have an Aaron Jones type of game at this price tag. And he might not need it. He might be in this game for three quarters. So I like going after guys like DJ Moore, bringing it back with Brandon Cooks. It's an under game. Everyone's going to lean towards the under. So I think the leverage or the receivers here, like a DJ Moore.
Geoff, is it worth dropping that much cash on Christian McCaffrey to be your captain?
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's such a massive price. Although at the same time, is that going to keep his ownership to levels that we are much more palatable? I mean, I think that if I was making 10 lineups, I'd definitely have some McCaffrey in the captain lineups. It's just, I don't think that if you're just projecting out this game, him at that price makes for the best play. I think Reid is right. Probably going down to DJ Moore or Robbie Anderson, probably going to project out a little bit better. I would say the sneaky pick in all this, I don't mind the Brandon Cooks call, but the sneaky pick at captain is probably Davis Mills. Again, you're getting a quarterback, low scoring games. The quarterbacks often just factor in because of their safe floor. What if he rushes for a touchdown? What if he sneaks one in and then he throws for one too? 20 points in a 20-17 game, that's massive. So I think Davis Mills is actually probably my favorite pivot play at captain spot. Yeah, it's going to be an ugly game, I think. And again, Yeah, Davis Mills could absolutely just light the dumpster on fire here, but absolutely, again, the quarterbacks, they have the ball in their hands, they touch the ball every play, and that leads to points, man. It's just safe points. So I think Davis Mills is actually like the really good pivot there.
All right, so let's say people watching are like, screw you two, I don't care. I'm going to put Christian McCaffrey in the captain spot.
Yeah.
That leaves you $30,000 here, just under that, to fill out the next 5 positions. So where are some cheap value plays? Who are some of the dudes, Reid, that you think could, return you some points here?
Yeah, I think Terrace Marshall, like the rookie Terrace Marshall, he's, he only had 3 targets, 3 receptions in the last game, but I think he's someone that the Panthers like. He's out there in 3 wide receiver sets. He's running a lot of routes. It's just the upside potentially isn't there. So, like Geoff mentioned, like if you want the upside and you think that there's a guy like Davis Mills is going to do well, what do we always know about rookie quarterbacks is that the tight ends are the ones that they try to rely on, right? They try to, as their safety blanket. And Farrell Brown at $2,600, he had 5 targets in game 1, 4 receptions and 67 yards. Again, that's against Jacksonville. I think, the Carolina Panthers are a better defense than Jacksonville, but like he's someone that you have to take a look at. I mean, look at his salary from week 1. Is that right? $200 to $4,600. Like I think it's the biggest salary increase ever. But yeah, I think he's someone that you can take a look at as well. Again, you're parsing out value. Danny Amendola is out, right? Nico Collins is out. Like there's a lot of guys that are out for the Houston Texans. So you're grasping at straws. The only guys that I would probably like as value from them is someone like a tight end, like a Farrell Brown.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell just happened with my dog. I honestly didn't know there were guys that were $200 in these showdowns. Or just, like, what is happening? All right, dudes. I'm sorry. My dog is like freaking out about something over there, and I'm quite concerned, but hopefully there are no bodily fluids. That's all that matters. Looking at, dude, Fowler, on Sunday, main slate, week 3, DraftKings Sportsbook. Poke over there for me real quick. What's the most intriguing game in your eyes? We've been talking about this for 3 days now on the Sweat. And I need you to take us to a game on the DK Sportsbook that you really like.
Well, from an individual standpoint, I mean,
yeah, we could start there too.
Yeah, Chicago, Cleveland. I want to see what Justin Fields does. like finally we get the Justin Fields you never want it to be because of an injury. And of course, right, Matt Nagy has to do everything he can to really dig at everyone who thinks that this guy's not ready and say, once Dalton comes back, he's our starter. Like I want Fields to come out and absolutely go berserk, go ham, and be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I want to see how much Matt Nagy hangs on to his word, right? Because his word is so precious and it's so valuable that Andy Dalton, QB1, I told him at a brunch in like February last year when he wasn't even on our team, he was going to be our starter. And therefore he was our starter. And his average depth of target was like negative 18 yards. Now, when you have Justin Fields on there and he performs for the next 3 to 4 weeks, I want to see how much Matt Nagy sticks to his word about Andy Dalton is our starter no matter what. What I will say about what Chicago is they're playoff contenders, right, in the NFC, in that last spot. Having a rookie quarterback, if you're a playoff contender, I get it. But Andy Dalton is not going to get you to the playoffs, period. End of story. So I'm most intrigued by Chicago itself. But from a DFS standpoint, I think that Tennessee game in Indy, AJ Brown might have an absolute monster game because he hasn't yet, and he's $6,500. I think that's cheap for him. And that's probably right now what I'm leaning towards. Obviously, there's a ton of games that, Arizona, Jacksonville, you can definitely go to. Seattle, Minnesota, I think it's going to be another high-scoring game because neither of those teams apparently play any defense. So those are the things, those are the games and the people, the players that I'm interested in.
These bros ain't loyal, man. I don't know why he would want to. I guess it all depends on how Fields obviously plays for the next few weeks, but just because you tell him at brunch at Golden Corral, you're going to be our starter. You got one 1-year deal, $10 million. Like,
it makes
man.
no sense why Nagy would say that, right? Like, it makes absolutely no sense that he would say that, because you don't know the injury status and longevity of how long, like the longevity of the injury. Why would you say it?
Matt Nagy thinks
dope.
he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he thinks his game plan works better with. He thinks his game plan makes the offense. He doesn't think that the player makes the offense, or he doesn't want to admit that, there's a player who can elevate his team. He thinks he can elevate it, and he's got his guy in Andy Dalton who he thinks can execute it. So he saw Alex Smith do it in KC, and he saw Patrick Mahomes sit, and I think it just all boils down to that. I don't know, man. I'm with Reid. I mean, I'm a little bit suspect because I have seen this from Matt Nagy. He may just game plan Justin Fields out of being good. He game planned Mitch Trubisky out of being good, and I know Mitch Trubisky isn't Justin Fields. I'm not trying to compare the two. I think Fields is a far better prospect, but Trubisky had tools, and he was never really unleashed. So I don't really know what's going to happen here. I will say I really like the Bears +7 with Fields there, because at the very least, Fields can absolutely just run around the defense. And he took 10 rush attempts last week. He's averaging like 10 yards per carry or something since the preseason. And he could absolutely just keep this game close with his legs. So I think +7, it's too big.
Because he looked awful in his first extensive regular season action last week. But part of that, being a rookie quarterback, a week to prepare, he should be better, right? I don't know. I
also dropped a dime for a touchdown pass, which if he just catches that ball, I mean, it's like, so
it's an entirely different story. Yeah.
I mean, he's probably someone you don't feel great about in a single quarterback lineup. Maybe if we're talking season long, at least this week. And if you were going to screw around with him, right?
12. I think it's QB1.
His rushing upside is very, very big, and it's right up there. Yeah, I agree with Reid. Top 12 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like you're that.
So you're saying more season long than DFS?
Well, no, DFS as well.
He's too cheap in DFS. I mean, We'll see what his ownership projects. I assume his ownership projections, like, what if you use sites or you just look, his sentiment is going to go up throughout the week. I think by the time we get to kickoff, he'll probably be up in the top 5 owned, but maybe not. Maybe people are maybe they've been hammered by, Johnny Manziel throughout the year. I remember that. I'm old enough to remember Johnny Manziel week in the DFS industry when every single person outside of me was like, oh, you got to play this guy. He's going to rush for like at least 50 yards. He's 5K. And they got like negative points. So I think people are still hampered by that, but it
makes guys like, Terrell Pryor and some of these other like gadget quarterbacks viable, right? Like, and if you take a look at Fields himself, and why I think he's a top 12 is because at that juncture, you have guys like Tannehill, Cousins, maybe Tyler Heineke, which I don't think he belongs in the top 15, top 14 this week. Those are the guys that you have around him. And I mean, if you take a look at Fields in week 2, I think he accounted for like 21% of the Bears design rush plays and like 19% of the dropbacks. And he scrambled on 90% of those dropbacks. And I'm grabbing the stats from PFF.com, but like, that's the upside that he gives you. Like if he comes out and he throws her 163 yards, like, you're gonna be like, okay, well, that wasn't great. But Cleveland has a stout pass rush, right? They have talented players on that defense. Justin Fields is going to need to be athletic. And having him running for 60, 70 yards is not out of the question. And Allen Robinson, guy might get like 11 targets this game.
Geoff, there's a slam dunk DFS play for you on Sunday, or even a stack. I know Reid mentioned Cousins there a little bit with the Vikings. Could he, and I don't know, take your wide receiver of choice against the Seahawks? Could that be a good stack?
I mean, I definitely like Justin Jefferson here. He's out targeted Adam Thielen, but Thielen's got the touchdown so far.
Yep.
I think Justin Jefferson's ownership is going to be really palatable. You've got Cooper Kupp there, too cheap this week at 6,800. I don't know why we can't get him a little bit of respect. He's just been tearing up the league. So everyone's going to play Cooper Kupp again. But Justin Jefferson, a little bit more expensive. And Reid mentioned AJ Brown too. Like, there's a couple guys in that range around Cooper Kupp who are just going to go completely unnoticed. Because not only do we have Cup, but we got Keenan Allen against the Chiefs. So for GPPs, I'm looking at guys like Jefferson, AJ Brown, and then if you want to get real crazy, you fade Cooper Kupp and you play Robert Woods, because eventually, guys, this is going to shift and Woods will have the big game. Cooper Kupp isn't going for 160 and 2 touchdowns every week. I think that's the actual play this week in that Tampa LA game. You could double stack him with Kupp, but Robert Woods, like, don't forget about this guy, because he was the number one there. Great for Cooper Kupp, but like, that is such a fantastic pivot because there's going to be a ton of passing in that game.
Where is Woods?
What do you think, Fowler? What do you
57.
like? Who do you like on Sunday?
57? Oh, that is way too cheap for Robert Woods. You kidding me?
So you like that play,
Robert
obviously.
Woods. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if we're talking about wide receivers here, because I think that's viable. Mike Williams, his ADOT, I think, decreased from 15 yards to 9, which is actually really good for Mike Williams because he's getting more catchable passes near the line of scrimmage, as opposed to just deep threats, deep bombs. And then he gets hurt on those plays always. always makes this circus catch. And then he's out for 3 weeks.
Oh, he's out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it always happens. So I think Mike Williams is interesting. I do think that he's going to be a little bit more popular. Like I mentioned, A-Rob at 62 is fine. Let's put some respect on Sterling Shepard. Going back to his Oklahoma Sooner, going back to number 3, his college number, I believe. This guy, I mean, look at his targets over the last 2 weeks, guys. 19 targets. I mean, this is unbelievable. And he's only $5,900, and he gets the Falcons, Jess Falcons. I know Tevin Coleman's no longer there, which is probably why they're not great. But Sterling Shepard has been performing at an unbelievable rate. And at $5,900, I'm definitely there, if not like Bobby Trees, like Geoff mentioned. But I mean, good God, $5,900 or $5,700 is way too cheap. And Tampa Bay's secondary is not good.
For Shepard and the Giants against the Falcons, the Falcons remain one of the more mediocre secondaries in the NFL for sure. But I like that. I like a wideout for under $6,000 who's averaging 22 fantasy points.
Peace.
Like a game. Okay. Yeah. Sign me up for that.
But he's going to be popular, I would imagine, just because if we're thinking about it right now on a Wednesday, right? Like, he's going to be popular. Kenny Golladay, squeaky wheel, guys. You saw him yelling.
I was going to bring up Kenny Golladay.
Go ahead.
I think I'd rather pivot to Kenny Golladay this week. I think Sterling Shepard is going to be the better long-term play there. You're right. He does deserve some respect, but I think for this week against Atlanta, Kenny Galladay's still averaging 14 yards per catch. He's just not getting as many looks as he wants. Like, he wants a couple more targets. And now you're going up against a low pat, like a team with not a very good pass rush. Daniel Jones probably will have time to sit back there a bit. I think Golladay could, at the very least, going to find the end zone here. So I don't mind.
AJ Terrell out too. I think he was injured last week. So yeah, go ahead.
So with you guys talking about Shepard and Golladay, crazy stack there with Daniel Jones. I get it. Who really wants to play Daniel Jones? But it feels like the upside's certainly there then.
Oh yeah, I think Daniel Jones is a top 10 play this week. I mean, he got an 80-yard touchdown run called back because of holding. I think he got
that
another
was a BS holding call too.
Yeah, it was, and I think there was another play, like another touchdown. I think he got called back, and if those two things go as planned, like he already had 29 points. He could have had a huge game if that rushing was, where he would have gotten that. So like, he missed out on a ton of yards. Yeah. This guy is a rushing threat. Yeah. I mean, look at his last 2 games. Like, 15 attempts total, over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he's definitely a top 10 play for me at $5,800. I'm definitely playing Daniel Jones and a Kenny Golladay stack. Absolutely. Yeah. Even with Saquon too.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice if Saquon started to produce a little more. If Hurts can produce so against the Falcons, so can Jones. There's no question about it. We're in the final quarter of this show here, this award-winning Wednesday edition of the Slate. There's a big golf tournament coming up this week. It's the Ryder Cup. It's Team USA against Team Europe. We hit on it briefly this morning. Please, Geoff, make a case before we get into the sports betting And before we get into the DFS side, make a case for pairing Brooks and Bryson together. Please. Just do it, dude. It's all people want. It's just a point. Who cares?
Yeah. I actually have thought about this a little bit. And the more I think about it, I think it would almost be better as like you do it at like the very last group. You don't do it at the start because that sets the tone. If they go out and lose, that could honestly just like fizzle everything they've built apart. But
okay.
Maybe it's like tied going into the last set of team matches, or maybe you got a slight lead. Then you throw those two out. Oh boy, everyone's excited again. Maybe the team's a little flat. Boom. Like these guys are out there. Let's go in with a bang. Let's get Brooks and Bryson a win here. There's definitely an argument to deploying this, but it's got to be deployed very strategically. And I don't think doing it at the start would be very smart at all. Like if we're talking about this,
shock the world.
Yeah, but if it
team
doesn't
up and
work,
just kick ass.
Like legitimately, if it doesn't work, you could be just punting the Ryder Cup away because it would be just such negative sentiment for the rest of the league. But you do it at the end of the team matches. Even if you lose, you got the singles right back. It's not a big deal. If we're talking about it seriously from the strategy standpoint, that's how I'm viewing it. I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think Stricker wants to have that on his record. But
dude,
who knows? Who knows? I didn't think you'd even see this kind of like them talking. So.
Oh, it's incredible.
Hey,
it's awesome.
The Berlin Wall coming down, I mean, this is historic stuff. So.
Reid, the TV execs, they're in Stricker's ear and saying, put them together, Steve.
Right.
Seriously.
Somebody's just going to show up at Steve Sticker's door Thursday with a bag of money.
Will get people to turn off college football if it's Saturday. Or even an NFL game, take a break from that on Sunday. If these two are paired together, it's seriously, even the casual fan, maybe even someone who's not a huge golf fan, will be like, I've heard about these two like beefy dudes who don't really like each other and talk all this crap and just hate each other. Like, come on.
Before I lose my thought, because I have a handful of thoughts here. Yeah. Number one, you're absolutely right. This is media. This is media fodder. That's what it is. Number two, yes, I think that a pairing, as much as people want to see them succeed, they want to see them fail. They want to watch to see the chaos, the garbage can that's on fire, that's going down the street of a flooded city. That's what they want to see. They want to see destruction. People want to see destruction. So they want to see it blow up in the U.S. face. I get that.
Can I cut in with some breaking news?
Oh,
Antonio Brown placed on the COVID list today, tested positive.
Yeah. Oh, that was like
great.
2 hours ago.
That was like 3 hours
7 minutes ago, wasn't it?
No, it's not, dude. I'm literally sitting here eating a chicken salad sandwich, and they announced it like 3 hours ago.
Schefter just retweeted it. What the heck? He must be losing.
Schefter's a little late. Schefter's a little late to the game.
Who's the new Schefter? Is there like a 14-year-old I should be following or something on like Snap?
It's probably one of your kids in the toy room right now.
You are a few hours. Yeah, that's Eamon says you are a few hours behind. So maybe the news got a little
Movies come out like 6 months later here.
Right. Hey, trust me, in Hawaii, I know music that was popular on the East Coast, truly, it takes a little bit to ship over to Hawaii. But going to the Brooks and Bryson thing, it's this what Geoff mentioned is the only thing I think would be viable is that to energize and to give them a spark plug. Because from an actual golf and pairing perspective, these guys don't complement each other. Their games do not complement each other at all, right? Bryson is someone who hits it 1,000 yards off the tee, loves to play to the crowd, is a decent putter, but hasn't been putting well. Brooks, when he wins majors, it's because of his putting, but he hasn't been playing well at all. He's been chronically injured for the last, 6 months to a year.
Good point.
If he's in the shrubs, in the junk, and he's having to contort his knee and this and that, he might get pissed off in hole number 1 or hole number 2, and Bryson tries to hit it 1,000 yards. So their games don't really complement each other, nor do their personalities. Excuse me, they just don't coincide. They don't congeal as a team. So from a actual golf standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. You want to put
unite the world.
I can't emphasize enough, man. I can't emphasize enough how much the Europeans like each other and they actually like playing with each other. They get off on this, man. This is like an outing for them. This is like going to the pub for them for like a week. It
is a cool vibe. It is cool
out there.
And one thing to
boys,
mention,
you're out playing with the boys on a Saturday.
This is a golf trip for them with the boys.
Right. For Europe, they've been doing this for centuries, right? And like you'll see, like when Seve was paired with Jose Maria Olafable, like Sergio's going to be paired with Rahm, the Englishmen are going to be paired together. Like this is what they do. Like they're like this is their thing. With take a look at 2008 when it was at Valhalla, right, in Kentucky. Who was and there's a bunch of rookies on that team for the United States, and they're playing against guys like Casey, Poulter, Sergio, Padraig Harrington, who was like number one, he won like 3 majors that year, I believe. So he was like one of the best golfers on tour, or like 2 majors near that time. So he was really good. The U.S. team had Boo Weekley and J.B. Holmes. And those guys won like 3 or 5 points for the U.S. team. Why? Because they like each other. Because they are the like quintessential U.S. type of thing. And so I hate to say it, but give me the Boo Weekleys, give me the J.B. Holmes pairing over someone like Brooks and Bryson, right? Because like Geoff mentioned, those 2 guys like each other. The Euro team, they love each other. This is great for them. Bryson and Brooks, they're going to do it for a week.
Do you remember how Weekley got the crowd fired up too?
Weekley
it was
is
unbelievable
amazing.
How animated he was that year. That's
he said
a great
this
reference.
is the best pair of pants that he's ever owned.
Yes,
he's never taken them off.
Yeah. I will ask you this, and I'm looking at your article. I know the answer, so I'll just go ahead and ask you, Reid, first. Why do you like Team USA to win then? Because we just talked about how the dudes love each other so much on Team Europe, and we don't even know if Bryson and Brooks can play 18 holes together. Yet I see you're chasing that -190 on the DK Sportsbook.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of value to be on the Euro side. I will not knock anybody who's picking the European team just because they're plus money, and they've done it. They've done it way more than the U.S. team. But I think Cantlay succinctly put it perfectly, which is there's so much variance in this. There's so much where the weather, the balls can bounce a different way, this and that. There's different players, different captains, different everything. I do think a little reversion, a little aggression is okay from a betting standpoint, even if you're laying a lot of juice, that I'm going to rely on talent and I'm going to rely on Stricker's ability to get these guys to play for something bigger than themselves. Because that's what it's been about. Right, that the United States is not playing for anything other than themselves, like outside of a handful of guys. I think when you have guys like Xander, Cantlay, who's going to be a quiet assassin, you have guys like Bryson. Bryson is probably the most important guy on this team, to be honest, in terms of what he can do. I do think from a talent perspective that the U.S. is going to get it right, or at least get it close enough to where in the singles matches, they don't have to get like 5 or 6 points in the singles matches. That's going to be close enough, and I think talent prevails in that sense on home soil with the fans back. So I do like the U.S. -190.
Ulrich, you still hammering Europe because you were for the past 2 weeks. All right,
absolutely, man. I think the talent gap is overblown. Like last time I checked, Europe had the best player in the world in John Rahm. So Rory McIlroy's still there. Guys like Casey.
God, I feel like he's been around for 20 years.
These guys are solid. I get that, like Cantlay and Schauffele and like the list goes on, but like it's a little overblown here. And you look at the back ends of these teams, like Berger, English, Scheffler. None of these guys have played before, man, and they're all going to be sitting cold because they're not going to be playing that much. I'd much rather bring Ian Poulter off the bench for one match than Scotty Scheffler, who's never played. Like Poulter will be jacked up, ready to go, and start draining putts right off the get-go. So I don't see why this line should be this big. I definitely think the Americans should be favored, but like plus 210, whatever it's up to now, and I think it's up to plus 210. Man, I didn't think it was going to get bigger than plus 200, but like people are laying getting in there with America, man. I don't think it should be that big. Again, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive, and man, it's just
Sergio, and we talked about Sergio yet. The guy's got like 25 and a half total
let's
points
just
in his
look
career.
at the recent form of some of these guys too. Like we've got, Morikawa didn't end well. You mentioned the injury with Brooks. Those are two big players for America. But then you've got guys like Sergio who played really, really good down the stretch. Shane Lowry, Fleetwood was even picking it up. Like,
then there's Xander and Cantlay, a couple of rookies, but they seem like they've been around long enough. They've been in some of the.
I think those guys are going to have to carry the States. I think those two guys, along with like Thomas and maybe like a guy like Spieth or Bryson, are going to have to carry them. I mean, DJ has been a little bit better, but like it's always like, where is DJ's head at? I think this is going to be close, man. I really do. And I love Europe a plus 210. I'm not just saying that to get under you guys' skins.
No.
I do like this bet.
No. I'll fight you any day, dude. It's not a big deal. And you ready to feel old? DJ is the oldest player. DJ is the oldest player on the American side by 5 years. Whoa, I didn't realize he was 37.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, that's super old.
He's been around for a while.
I look better than he does. That's for sure.
Just kidding. Because Emerson is closer to 40 than he is to 30.
That is true. He has the most Ryder Cup experience out of any of his teammates. Okay, so what do we got? About a handful of minutes to go. I know we've been talking about it. Again, you got to watch, guys, The Sweat, live 11 o'clock Eastern time, Monday through Friday in the morning, leading up to noon. We have spent a lot of time on this the past 3 days. Any kind of golfer props that you like, Reid?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm liking US to win at minus 190, but I think on the singular props, these matchups, I think it's a great way to hedge. So vice versa, right? If you're on the Euro side, you can hedge with some Americans to get the most points or to win their match. And I mentioned that Rory McIlroy is someone that I really like. I don't see him. Where is he? He was here. Yeah, Rory McIlroy here at minus 110 against Schauffele. Like that to me is a nice spot. Rory's single matches is absolutely amazing. He's going to play all 5 matches. Xander might play 4. If Rory gets 3.5 points, I can definitely see that out of the 5 matches. And he's probably going to be playing a Vic Hovland. So like, if you want to correlate those stats together, you can. Vic Hovland against Patrick Cantlay, you're getting plus 115 on the Rook. I think that's nice, but I'd lean a little bit more towards Rory here in the matchup against Xander, even though I do like Xander. Like both of these guys, Rory and Xander, are my 2 favorite plays. But I'm going to lean on the Rory side.
Man, Roy's played all 5 sessions and 4 straight Ryder Cups. Some people think it may that streak may come to an end with just some of his iffy form, but 6th consecutive Ryder Cup appearance for him. Geoff, any props that you like? Any individual props?
I mean, I just looking at the matchups, I do like that Rory one as well. I think that's probably my favorite matchup there. I don't mind taking plus money with Sergio over Dustin. I think you're going to see a lot of Sergio again playing really good golf. If you go to like the top scorers as well, I think Paul Casey is a guy. If you're looking for some bigger odds, plus 1,400, I expect to see a ton of Paul Casey out there. I could see him playing 4, possibly 5 matches. So that's definitely one I really like. I know we talked about this a bit the other day, but I like taking Europe in the team matches, man. Like you can bet them day one, to win the foursomes or the 4 balls, in my opinion. I think getting them a plus money there are really good bets too.
All right, what about on the DFS side, guys? As we got a couple minutes to go here, how do you approach an event like this, a match play event like this on the DFS side, Reid?
I'm gonna wait until I see the matchups just to see, right? Like, just to see how that goes, because you see TBD.
Okay. I'm assuming you guys will write some stuff up about this when they'll be announced. It's likely to be announced tomorrow, right? Or is it tonight?
You putting more work on this? You got to write some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of you are lazy POSs, all right? I'm sitting here carrying the stinking company. Come on.
No, Rory, captain. Xander, I think, is a nice captain. You want to find the correlated stacks with teammates, and that's why you want to see, right, how it breaks down first and who they're playing against. And like I mentioned earlier on the sweat, you don't have to go on one team side, but I do think there is some leverage that if you want to, you can stack an entire team and bring it back with like a Bryson or someone, or stack it and then bring it back with like a DJ or someone like your favorite US or your favorite Euro player. I think there is some viability from a GPP standpoint with that, the same way you would approach a showdown on a Thursday night or a Sunday night game football.
All right. So, Geoff, you want to play like matchups because there's something you should look for in some of these pairings?
Yeah. I mean, look, we definitely will want to use the matchups. At the same time, I think it's going to be pretty obvious, like who the stronger players are. So we can start thinking about it. I think that when you're looking for like real security, guys are going to be out there a lot. Rahm, Justin Thomas, and Rory McIlroy are probably my three favorites to like all get 5 matches. I think there's guys who are likely to get 5 matches, like Schauffele or Cantlay might, but I mean, I think that you're taking a little bit more risk there. I think that there's also certain values that are just like stand out way more. I mean, I think Morikawa, regardless of how his recent form was a little bit going in, is just like way too cheap. And then there's just players out there who I don't even like, it could go either way. Like Bryson is a perfect example. Even Brooks. I mean, we're talking about like top 10 players in the world here, like super talented. If Bryson gets hot, if they win their first pairing, maybe him and Scotty Scheffler go out like second pairing and just blow the doors off. And all of a sudden Stricker's like, I'm just riding these guys, man, for 4 matches. Bryson's hitting like 400 yard bombs everywhere. So there's a lot of GPP strategy that goes into it. I think certain guys will be popular, like Xander and JT and stuff like that. But man, you can kind of do whatever you want here. And like Reid said, I mean, ultimately, when we see the matchups, we're probably going to change our minds or just get a lot more specific about, these like 4 guys specifically are going to be real good.
Geoff Ulrich changing his mind? No,
never.
Although Scotty Scheffler and Bryson, they both, Scotty's from Texas and now Bryson lives in Dallas. So there's that state connection potentially with those 2 guys instead of just
little Lone Star State. Yeah, a little smoked brisket. They got some great
also,
food there.
From Texas. Yeah.
Yes, honey. Right outside, I think Austin, right? I don't know. Okay, so you two did a phenomenal job today. I really enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you to Eamon, producer Eamon behind the scenes. Thank you to Andrew on the 1s and 2s for us. Guys, keep an eye on both of their Twitter pages. These two are going to be tweeting all day long about the Ryder Cup. We have put a lot of work on their plate. They have a lot of work to go here over the next couple of days, pumping out some articles for you. Thanks for watching this edition of the Slate, Wednesday edition of the Slate. Next Madden game, 6:00 on YouTube and Twitch on the Dream Stream, Packers at the Falcons. So hang out for that. Thanks for watching.